that Wigan didn't manage their performances as well when Phil Bentham was refereeing compared to all the other referees when they were winning all those games. So there is a factor sometimes where some referees and some teams just don't mesh with how the referee wants to referee the game versus how the team want to play the game. And I think that is a fair thing to say, but none of that is because the referee's biased or the referee doesn't want a team to win or anything like that. And by this stage of the season, you know, after 27 regular rounds, all the cup games, the playoff rounds, coaches and players should be aware of how referees look to referee games. And no one should be carrying an idea that any referee is against their side. If you don't go out and execute properly and fall foul of the referee, that's on the team, not on the referee.
Yeah, exactly. It's about... There is definitely... You're right in the sense that there's something about understanding a referee's approach, managing your relationship with a referee. You know, that kind of stuff is an important part of your chances of winning the game, even though it's a tiny part of ultimately, you know, executing your plays, defending well, etc., etc. But it's definitely part of it. But, you know, every coach should know every referee inside out because we don't have, you know, we've got a relatively small pool of top tier referees, haven't we? So every, you know, whoever is named to referee the grand final, both coaches should understand how that referee wants to play.
Who would you pick?
Liam Moore would be my pick this year. I think he's been very good when I've seen him referee.
I'm not so sure I agree.
Who would you pick?
I've struggled honestly, with match officiating this year overall.
I'd love it if we had to make that choice.
I don't know if it's the way the rules have needed to be interpreted or the fact that the players have been so fucking keen to cheat. I mean, go back and watch that St Salford game, and from the very first high tackle, which I think was on Conrad Hurrell, which wasn't much of a high tackle, but it was a high tackle, go and watch how many players held their faces after they were tackled high in that match. And for both sides, and, you know, that doesn't necessarily help when players are trying to get penalties. And I'm not saying in that game none of them were high tackles that they were holding the face for, but we've seen it. You know, we've seen Ben Garcia fling his head around like it's been hit in the head when he's been hit across the chest, for example. As an example, I'm not saying he's the only player that does it. I'm saying there's a player that I've noticed doing it. You know, we've seen players lying down, even if they have been hurt, still looking to get cards. We've seen players do like what Richie Myler did in the game against Huddersfield towards the back end of the regular season, where he blatantly put himself in a dangerous position, or almost a dangerous position, but he knew what he was doing, so he could put himself in a safe, dangerous position, as it were. I think we saw players, Jack Wellesby, didn't he do something similar very early on in the game against Hull earlier on in the season when it snowed? You know, we've seen that sort of stuff this year. I think it makes it harder to referee. Then I think the change of the way they've refereed the ruck, and fans haven't really understood that, especially because the NRL hasn't changed how we've changed. But basically the onus is almost all on the ball carrier now in Super League for loose balls at the ruck. So consistently fans are getting annoyed thinking, but there was a hand in or something like that, because for years and years they would be penalties. But this year they've said no, there's an onus on the player carrying the ball. And they've been consistent with it, but I think fans have been consistently annoyed with it. And I don't think it's been an easy year to officiate. Plus the speed of the game, all of that sort of stuff, the scrutiny that gets put on them. I'm not sure I've been hugely impressed with any of the match officials, but I think there's been mitigation to it. I thought James Charr was the best referee this year, up until the point where he gave that Harry Newman try when he was the video ref, and then he was put in the doghouse. And I don't think he's quite recovered from that. I think Robert Hicks refereed that playoff game between Salford and Huddersfield really well. Probably the best refereeing performance I've seen all year. So maybe he deserves it.
Yeah.
But he's technically a part-time ref now, so that's a bit...
Mm.
But Hugh has had finals before, hasn't he, when he was a part-time ref, so, yeah. I don't know. I feel like I've been a bit moany there about match officials, and I don't mean to be, because I respect what they do.
I think, to be fair, you're talking about the difficulty of the circumstances. I don't... I think obviously a lot of onus is put on who the referee is. I think that, as I said, that's a tiny percentage of what will decide the outcome, one way or the other. So hopefully it won't, set anyone's fan base off in any particular way. I just hope that I hope that the players make it a good game and a simple game to referee. But I fear that what we've seen this year makes that unlikely. That's what I would say.
Jack Wellsby, Young Player of the Year for second consecutive year. Do you want to do a shout out to our friends, and then we'll go before the Man of Steel's announced?
Perfect timing. So yeah, Rob's Megastore, enter SLP10 at checkout to get 10% off your order. Little Warden, vital alerts for hidden issues. Head to littlewarden.com to see what they can do for you. And Sarah's Bookcase. Sarah sells Usborne books, and with access to over 3,000 titles from baby to young adults, there's something for everyone. You can find out more on Facebook.
Yeah, head to superleaguepod.com and you'll get links and more information on everything that you need. But thanks to everyone for listening to another episode of your favourite rugby league podcast, the Super League Pod, and we'll speak to you again next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
It's Croft. Just shows, doesn't it? It's that old thing. The great player in the average side.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. He's been the outstanding individual, performing above and beyond expectations and pulling a team up. Definitely.
Yeah,
honestly, like
J Field.
The thing about there's such a thing about like how what's the word I'm looking for? Like how berated he was, in his performance at Brisbane. Like how, like the guy, was vilified, completely vilified, and to come over.
Yeah, it's not his fault that people were talking about him being the next Cooper Cronk, is it?
No, exactly. And he went there and, they were in a bad place and they were looking for things to happen and, it didn't work for him and confidence dropped and blah, blah, blah. But, to come over and rebuild his career, he's done an absolutely phenomenal job, really. And, yeah, he's been so good this year. So way better than I could have even thought.
He has been great. Yeah, and I thought he'd be, decent, but I didn't think that Salford would be very good.
Yes.
So, I suppose there's a surprise there.
I'm happy with this decision as compared to when McShane won it. I feel like he's done more, and at times the guy's been unplayable. And you see some of these things now.
He has. He has been exceptional, and in terms of what do you look at halfbacks for? You look at try involvements, don't you? So direct try involvements, 33 tries plus assists this year, but Lola Here's had 34, Connor's had 37, Wellsby's had 39, Fields had 44, and French has had 47. So he's sixth.
Yeah. I think with the Field and French, I think they're viewed as as a partnership, and I think that kind of counts against them all both individually.
Which I think is a bit unfair on Field because the start of the year.
No, I'm not saying it's fair. I'm just saying I think that's how it is. I think yeah.
Brody Croft has got a 56% win success rate in Super League this year. Wellsby's is 84, Fields is 73. Bevan French has signed a new 2-year contract with the club that will see him stay at Wigan until at least the end of 2024 with a further 2 years of options. You sexy fucking... Oh! What? What a moment! What a way to lift me back up.
Oh, there you go. I was not expecting that.